Okay, here we go. Welcome everybody to, this is the second face-to-face Zoom conversation for the year 2022. And tonight we have Bob Streeter and Peg Loughran joining us along with Annie Burke. And they're going to talk about the Tamworth Farmers Market. And how it's going to go is Bob and Peg have sort of a prepared script. They're going to talk for at least a half an hour. Annie will join in. And then there'll be time for questions and conversations at the end. There's also a nice slideshow that you'll see yourselves in many of the pictures, a collection of about 50 or more pictures over the years, which is really fun. That'll play at the very end. If you need to leave before the very end, you can, this will all be put up on our website eventually, so you can connect over to that. But I wanted to just say, with the questions, if you kind of save them a little while, think about them, they're going to try not to be distracted by the chat box until it's a little later in their time talking. So, you guys, I'm super excited that you're here and willing to chat about the farmers market, which we all love so well. So Bob and Peg, take it away.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for having us and even thinking to ask the farmers market. We're excited to be here.
Yeah. Well, I thought maybe I'd remind everyone that we've been around for 15 years and 13 of them were at UFIS and the last 2 have been at the Brett School. And I thought you just might want to hear our mission statement. It's to increase the exchange of food and farm products in our region, encourage new farmers and producers, and help build community through a year-round marketplace and vibrant food and farm economy.
I remember when we wrote that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we worked long and hard on that. How do we feel about it now?
Well, it actually, when we first wrote it, we said a seasonal marketplace. But
yeah, right.
Yesterday, when I reread it, I said, no, we want to go for a year round. And so we are year round at this point, except for April. And it kind of got going like a lot of good things in Tamworth. It started with a phone call from Katie Thompson, back in the fall, winter of 2006. There was a group called Sustainable Tamworth, and they were putting on a gathering at the community school. And Katie called and said, Bob, would you be willing to lead a discussion on whatever idea you want, but it has to be kind of related to, can Tamworth feed itself?
Well, and more than feeding, wasn't it kind of really everything from, it could have been energy usage,
True.
Conservation.
Okay.
How many people remember being there or were there? Just kind of wave your hands around. So quite a few people. Wow, that's cool. It was a big gathering. I wonder,
Yeah.
I think we had over 100 people.
It was big.
Yeah.
And so my topic was, I decided to go for something that I thought we could really get done, soon. And so I posed the question, should Tamworth have a farmer's market? And thankfully, Peg came to the meeting
With my mother.
with your mother
Yeah.
and a few other folks, and we talked about it for a while, and then we decided to meet again in our kitchen up at the farm, and Peg came to that again, thankfully, and a couple other people. But after a few meetings, it was just me and Peg, and we were the last ones standing. But one of the people, before they left, they made an anonymous donation of $1,000 so we could get the market started. And so that's what we did. And so I think it's important to know what the market is and what it isn't. It's not a nonprofit.
And why didn't we do that?
Because we didn't want to deal with a board of directors. We just felt like we could really make things happen on our own. We're both self-employed. We've always been self-employed, and we like working by ourselves. So we just felt like we could.
And we debated that. We realized there could be some drawbacks. Like we wouldn't have a huge group of people to help us right away. That we would have to do a lot more of the spade work.
Right.
But we also had seen other organizations flounder when times weren't so good and not able to pivot fast enough as a group. And we were worried that, you know, our market might go under before it had a chance to flourish. So that was one of our reasons back then.
Yeah.
I think mostly it was a sound decision. However, maybe at the end of this presentation, we'll talk about the future.
Right.
Yeah.
But we're also not a civic entity like some farmers markets. So the Tamworth Farmers Market is basically a business partnership between Bob and Peg. And we built some signs, we bought some insurance, we printed up some applications, we went hunting for vendors.
We found a place.
We found a location. And by the way, thanks to Peggy Johnson for painting all those signs that everybody's familiar with around town. And then thanks to Annie Burke for repainting them all.
Over and over and over again.
And thanks to Kevin Fulham, who puts them out every Saturday, by the way. That's a big job. And so what did we want in a market? I mean, I keep saying we wanted crops over crafts. We wanted it mostly to be a farmer's market.
Yes, because we had seen and heard about other markets in the area that had sort of petered out because they had wound up being mostly crafts and not a lot of vegetables or anything else to eat.
Right.
And we felt really strongly that, I mean, there's a law that says to have a farmer's market, you have to have at least 2 farmer vendors meeting to conduct business. So you can't have, you know, a jewelry maker and a potter and a bread maker and call it a farmer's market. It has to be farmers.
Okay. What else did we want? We wanted low fees for those farmers. So we only charged $5 to come on down and get in. We wanted good pay for musicians.
We didn't even have musicians, did we?
We did. We're gonna see a picture.
The first year?
I think
sure?
I think my little son was playing his fiddle the first year.
Okay. Yes.
We'll see a slide of that. So we wanted to pay musicians well.
We paid Will?
No, Will had his fiddle case open with a sign on it that said tunes for tuition, so he could go to the community school.
Oh, okay.
We wanted a good location in the village, and so thank goodness for UFAS. We've had such an amazing partnership with them.
Definitely our most beautiful location.
Yeah, and it's definitely my preferred location. Things have been great at the Brett School, but I loved all those years at UFAS and the vibe it sort of put out for the village. It helped the village, and the village helped us. And UFAS was very gracious with space. They let us put stuff in their basement. And
they developed their own thrift store.
Right. So we felt like it was kind of a win-win partnership all those years. We did have some parking challenges when we were there for those first many years. But we worked with selectmen, and I think we got through it. We developed some parking lots on people's property nearby.
And we put out our cones every Saturday. We still do, but a lot. We used to put out a lot more cones, many more, and then pick them all back up.
And we grew from 10 or 12 vendors, I think, at those first markets to maybe 25 or 30 at this point. And things were going along pretty great. And in 2014, we decided to start doubling people's SNAP dollars. And if you don't know what SNAP is.
Did we do that right away?
That was in 2014.
So, but when did we start accepting SNAP for the first?
Well, I think we started, okay. Yeah, when did?
Yeah, I would correct you on that, Bob.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
you signed up to accept SNAP in 13 or 14, but you didn't decide to double it, to have the incentive program until 2015.
15, okay.
Right.
So for those who don't know what SNAP is, it's food stamps. And I guess food stamps was too simple and clear. So they decided, the bureaucrats decided, let's call it Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. So that's what that is.
And everybody calls it EBT, just to confuse everybody.
Confuse it even more.
Right.
But we're able to accept SNAP at our market, and
that was great, but we didn't get any customers. Nobody, we had what, 2 or 3 a season.
Right.
I mean, it was pitiful. So we weren't attracting anyone to the market to shop for vegetables, and there was no doubling. So I'm sure people made other calculations and went, to the grocery store,
right,
instead of to the market, which makes financial sense.
So then I think the Department of Agriculture decided to offer this program where they would give farmers markets federal money to double SNAP dollars on fruits and vegetables. And we decided not to take that money for a couple of reasons. First, we felt like we could raise that money in Tamworth with no strings attached, and therefore we could offer people to SNAP recipients could come and buy any food at the market, not just fruits and vegetables. They could buy meat, they could buy dairy, they could buy bread, and that only seemed fair. And that also made all the other vendors benefit more from that program. So we turned down the federal money, and we decided to, put our faith in the people of Tamworth and the surrounding towns to donate money for this cause. And it's been amazing. I don't know if you have any numbers, Annie, on how much roughly we've raised since we started doing that in 2015.
Yes.
Well, just a rough.
I'd have to look it up. Oh, yeah. Overall, how much we've raised? $30,000.
So that's pretty great for all those folks on, getting SNAP. We feel good about that, and we want to keep that up.
And we've seen the market change. Who comes to the market, who uses the SNAP benefits, and it really has changed over the decade. Has it been a decade yet? No, I mean, not quite. But first it was hardly anyone, and now it's just a regular part of the market. It's just another way to pay for what you need.
So in 2015, the market was going great, and Peg and I were feeling a little overwhelmed with our own businesses and running the market, and we weren't feeling like we could keep up. And so we hired Annie to be our office coordinator, which is kind of weird because we don't have an office, but I guess. But we do.
She does.
Well,
yeah, I do.
We do have a post office box.
Right.
Yes.
25.
And that was very small, but she said it would work.
Yeah, right. So she's happy in there.
Right.
But Annie, do you want to say what you do, because you do a lot in terms of just running the market?
Well, sure. When they first hired me in 2015, it was really specifically just to get the double your dollar SNAP program and the regular credit card terminal program going, where you could buy the wooden tokens at the market with your credit card, or food stamp people could get the tokens with their food stamp. So pretty much I started out just doing that. And then over the years, as time has gone by, I've taken on more and more things. And at some point, Peg handed the bookkeeping over to me, and I'm doing that as well. So yeah, I mean, I have a list of things I do. The office administration, basically, keeping track of vendors, collecting vendor fees at the market, just keeping the schedule straight, who's coming and for each week and where they're going to set up. And I pay the bills, I get the mail, just all the office stuff, as well as
and she does a fabulous job.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And then I do some other stuff too, like sign lettering and just whatever needs doing.
And then
We could, actually, the next chapter is the grant.
Right, I was going to just say
And I was
that.
going to say, my mother, who's looking at me, Mom, you could turn your mic on. Can you turn your mic on?
In
Maybe she
2015,
can.
from 2015 to 2018, we partnered with the community nurse to get a grant from Harvard Pilgrim.
Right. Do you remember how that started, Mom?
Can't remember how it started, but it's sort of like I hadn't moved here full time yet, but I knew that I was going to move the next year and I wanted to become more involved in Tamworth. And here was something that I can do. I know how to write
I
grants.
think did someone post the grant to the exchange in the beginning? Is that how we even learned about it?
I don't remember.
See, I think it was something like that. And we read it and we kind of looked at it and then Mom wrote the grant.
It was certainly made for you. You know, they were,
Yeah.
Harvard Pilgrim was brand new at that point, and they needed to get more patients to sign up for their program. And so they were trying to do this kind of PR around here, and there's nothing better than good, healthy food. So we wrote it, and I must admit that when I was in the middle of writing it, I don't know whether the rest of you know, but at least back when I was writing that, Tamworth was the second most popular farmers market in the state. I've forgotten where I read that, but you guys already had a fantastic reputation that made writing the grant really easy.
Oh, boy.
Well, thank you for writing it, Mom.
Yeah, I guess so. The main gist of it was that there was money to help increase the access to healthy food. And so one of the things we did was we hired an outreach coordinator for the whole Doubling Your Dollars program. And we had 2 or 3 of them, but one of them was, our last one was Elizabeth Wilcox Jacobson. And she also went around, so she went around spreading the word about doubling your dollars at the farmers market. And then she also did cooking classes for the community, which were pretty well attended and pretty popular. We also started a school gardener position over at the Brett School. And so that helped get food from the garden into the kitchen and getting the kids from the classroom into the garden. We also got a greenhouse built over there. I think that was through the Tamworth Foundation.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken. So a lot of great things went on with that grant. Do you have any other thoughts on that?
Well, just that we saw the SNAP usage just go crazy. You know, our numbers are super high. People were using it a lot. Like I almost think that we had a high point there. Do you remember that, Annie? Like,
Yeah, it was like 2017 maybe was our high point.
Okay.
So
Although 2020 rivaled it because
of the
people were
pandemic.
getting a lot more benefits
That's true.
from the government because of the pandemic.
Okay. Well, so speaking of which, along came the pandemic. And after 13 seasons at UFIS, we really reluctantly decided, I really had to have my arm twisted because I wanted to stay, but we went up there to the parking lot and we paced it off and we were trying to figure out how we were going to keep everybody in that parking lot at UFIS and still be 6 feet apart. And, you know, I could imagine all kinds of bizarre configurations, but none of them were working in anybody else's eyes. And so,
Right. And of course, back then, I mean, everybody remembers we didn't know if you were going to catch COVID by breathing on someone or touching something or, you know, brushing up against the vegetable. I don't know, like there was a lot of confusion and
right.
panic and people were scared and the select people were obviously concerned. So.
Right. So we there's emergency management operations, which is this select board and fire chief, police chief, and public health officers. They felt pretty strongly that we should move to the Brett School. So we did. And what we lost that village vibe, but we gained some real good parking. And and by the way, everybody at the Brett School, Melanie, Kathy, Roy, they were all super welcoming and very gracious, and they still are. And there was plenty of room to spread out there.
We had to lose a few of our vendors because.
Because you can't do alcohol sales at the
Right.
school.
So
So
we had
we.
to say goodbye to
the-
Sap House
the
Meadery.
Sap House Meadery, which is sad.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's right. I'd forgotten that.
I know, all these little things.
One of the other benefits of going to the Brett School was we decided that we really loved being outside for the whole winter because of the pandemic, which is why, of course, we're still outside. And we want to remain outside because you don't haul stuff into a building. You don't haul stuff back out of the building. You don't have to clean the building, and you don't have to pay rent. So it's just been fabulous to be outside. I mean, you are cold.
And you get sun when it's not. cloudy.
Yeah, it's going to be sub-zero this Saturday,
I
by
know,
the way.
yeah.
Anybody still going to come and see us? Please come.
We'll be there.
Yeah, with our ice cream and frozen yogurt. But
Frozen breadsticks.
But that's been one of the little gems of the pandemic is discovering, being forced to be outside in the winter and finding that we really like it. Another great thing that happened at the Brett School was the mask sales by Shelley, thanks to Shelley and her friends.
So the Visiting Nurse Association.
Is that who that was? Okay.
Yeah, so Russ, not Russ Lenoy.
Julie Lenoy.
Julie Lenoy, Shelley, and who was the third person?
Annalise and Peggy Johnson and Jay Rancourt, they all did a bunch
They
of
also
sewing.
had masks.
Yep.
And we should have had we should make you guess how much money was raised from those masks.
Just selling
Because I was shocked.
$8 masks. Were they $8 masks?
They were $8 masks
$8 masks.
And how much did we raise?
for the SNAP program, because it was the mask sewers did it as volunteers and they donated 100% of the money to the Double Your Dollar SNAP program. And it was over $5,000 just selling cloth masks.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So that was another bright spot for the SNAP program and moving down there.
Yep.
Really, we're faced with we want to talk about some of the threats to the market. And some of the biggest, and we can all talk about this together as soon as we wrap up here, but some of the bigger threats to the market
Why?
at this point are, well, we're first going to have to decide whether we stay at the Brett School or not. And then beyond that, we're all getting older. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not.
I'm off audio.
Right.
Land prices are ridiculous. So where do you get young farmers to farm? There's few young farmers coming along. We've got a couple of good vendors right now that are young at the market, but most of them are, my age bracket. Also, there's the easy availability of organic and good food in lots of stores now. And so that can hurt farmers markets. So those are some of the threats. And we'll also have to, in terms of finding new vendors, I wanted to talk about this earlier and I forgot to, but we get a lot of applications every year to join our market. And we have to turn down most of them because we don't have room, or it's something that's not necessarily local or sustainable. It also might be something that steps on the toes of somebody we already have, and we're very protective of the vendors that we have because we're all down there trying to basically make our livings one day a week, to get paid. And so we're very protective of our vendors that are already there. That's that's the application process. Is they pitch their idea to us, and then we decide if it's something we need, and if it doesn't step on anybody's toes, and if it's fairly local. So anyway, that's it in terms of talking about threats and that sort of thing. And we could, I guess, move into discussion of whatever we want at this point. And then when we finish having some questions and comments and discussion, there's a slideshow at the end, maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes, which is quite fun to see. So we hope you stick around for that. So certainly, we can't hear you, Amy.
Yeah, I know. Here we go. Maybe an easy thing to do would be for people to add it in chat, because there's so many pages, it's hard to see.
Okay.
There is one person that Bob asked, Diana Witt would love figures on SNAP and how SNAP use has grown, and share ideas about how to get people who are food insecure connected to the farmers market. She says we don't need to do a whole thing about this, but.
Yeah, well, I could get a hold of you later, Diana, if you want. We could just have a conversation. Okay, good.
Another thing, people can go down and raise their hands down, and
We have a couple of,
and that pops you up to the front of the screen. And
I
then,
can see a couple of questions.
okay, go for it.
Dave Thompson asked what Annie does, which we sort of addressed, but also who coordinates the music and sponsors the music?
Okay, well, I've been the one who's been booking the musicians over the years, and we've been paying them. We started out at $50, and we're up to, at this point, we're up to $100 plus tips.
Mhm.
And so some musicians will go home, with over a couple $100, and we want them to feel like it was a really good gig, and they usually have a lot of fun. But this year we decided that we could save the market some money, exchange one day, and I could not believe it. But by the end of the day, we had the whole season sponsored. People could not wait to sponsor a local musician. And
That's awesome.
there's so many great musicians around here, including Peg, and yeah, especially Peg. And so right now we have just a great system where people call us up and they say, I want to sponsor. They may have a favorite musician in mind, and they say, I want to sponsor them. And we sign them up, and we acknowledge them on a chalkboard or two. Annie writes it on a board in front of the music tent. And so that's how we do it.
Somebody asked about a typical morning for you guys, what time you get rolling, and what does a morning before everyone shows up look like?
I don't know that because I'm never there. I remember that ages ago when I used to get there on time, but
Yeah,
no more.
yeah.
I just can't do it.
I get down there pretty early. I first have to wake up and milk my cows and get all that done. So for me, it starts in the summer right around 2:30. This time of year, I don't have to get up until 4 for the winter markets because we move it, we start later. Getting down there early and getting tables and chairs and umbrellas set up in the music tent, and a few early bird vendors will wander in, and
Yeah, Harold Cook is always the first one there.
Yeah.
he's there before I am.
He's there before anybody.
Peg was early too.
And Peg Loughran's early.
And there's a few early vendors, and then I come along and I have to run all the electric cords and the phone cords for all my stuff. So I go in the school and I throw a cord out the window, and I run a 200-foot long phone cord to my food stamp terminal, and there's stuff to do.
And put out all the parking cones.
Yep, all the no parking signs. We used to have a lot of no parking signs when we were in the village. There's of course hardly any now that we're down where there's plenty of parking. And
And signs, moving signs around.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And Kevin does that. He loads his pickup truck with all of our yellow and green sandwich boards that you see at all the road intersections. Kevin Fulham does that for us. And I tell you, I think signs are key to getting people to a farmer's market. I really do, because people tell us that all the time. Oh, we saw your sign out on Route 25 or out on Route 16.
Mhm.
I think it's way more important to have good signs than it is to be in a newspaper.
Yeah,
I gotta say, I just think put your money in signs.
I agree.
Question for Maureen and Jim. You guys are here?
Hi there, this is Maureen. And
Hi,
I just
Maureen.
want to, I mean, I know everybody feels this way, but this market is such a fabulous thing and such an incredible community uniter. I love it. I love to recommend it to friends. I always let friends know, you know, when the season is changing, when the hours are changing. It's a very, very important part of our community. I love knowing what your thinking process was when you determined whether or not to use federal government dollars for double your SNAP dollars. And it's absolutely marvelous that the community has come up, you know, to give you the freedom, you know, to do that your own way. One of the things that happened during the pandemic was the WIC program offered $35 a month to all of its recipients from something like March till October or so of 2021 at farmers markets. However, the state of New Hampshire has never successfully applied for approval for New Hampshire farmers markets to accept WIC dollars. So it's very interesting. It's very convoluted. You made a good decision, I think, in you know, avoiding all of those traps when you decided to rely on local fundraising for double your dollars. I just can't say enough positive about the market and what it does for our community in terms of community spirit and nutrition. Thank you.
Oh, boy.
Thanks, Maureen.
Oh, that's
Thank
sweet.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
That's interesting about the WIC. I wasn't even aware
I wasn't
of
either.
it. So
I wasn't
I actually
either.
just learned that, what Maureen said. I just learned that this week.
oh, interesting.
Someone else asks about how do you define local when people are applying to be part of the market? You spoke about wanting them to be local. How
Well,
would-
there's a farmers market RSA that states that local means within the state of New Hampshire. And so that's like it's, you know, whatever, not legal, but whatever, it's the state definition. And that's what we mean too, but we make exceptions. So for example, let's say the market needed corn, but the only person we knew growing it was in Maine.
Brownfield, let's
You
say.
know, so we would let someone from Maine come to the market and sell corn if there was a need. But if there was a, you know, Tamworth or Sandwich or Freedom vendor, we would probably pick them first.
Thanks.
And there's another question, let's see, Tamworth.
I'm curious what people think about moving back to the village. Would you be willing, if Eufus was willing to have us back and we wanted to go back there, would people be willing to walk more, because you'd probably have to park more in the village than up by where we used to be able to park up by Eufus? So I'm just wondering where people come down on that issue.
I mean, this is Maureen again. I would say walking to market is a pleasure. So
Well,
It's
I
not
won't
an issue.
name any names, but I do know there's one person who was annoyed to have to park at the other lot at the bread school.
The other lot at the bread school, okay. Huh.
Somebody asks if there has the market picked up being at the Brett School? You had more people because of being there, do you think?
Well, it's hard to count people. We used to be able, do you all remember, we used to have 3 locations. For many years, we would be from May to October at UFIS. And then for November and December, we did what we called holiday markets inside at the Brett School. And then we would do our deep winter markets, January through March, at the townhouse. And that was really great. I loved moving around like that. I forgot what was the question again, Amy?
If we feel busier.
Oh, if we feel busier. Oh, so
Yeah.
what I was going to say was, when we were inside at the Brett School and inside at the townhouse, Annie used to have a clicker, and she could count, and she kept track of our visitors. And so we knew what was going on, what was going up and down.
In the winter.
Yeah.
In the winter.
But we
Yeah.
were never able to really count them outside at UFIS, and we really can't
Right.
count them.
It's
There's no
too
way
hard.
you can't count them outside at the Brett School, but
You can't.
But we can look at our sales and kind of see,
yeah,
how things are going.
in my opinion, I would say it hasn't gotten busier.
And in my opinion, I'd say it has gotten maybe a little busier.
I would say it was busier last year, and this year it's slightly slower for some reason. This winter.
This winter, yeah.
Compared to last winter.
One of the nice things about having the market in the village is that we could walk to it.
What was that,
Not
Kit?
many- I said, one of the nice things about having it in the village is that we could walk to it.
Right.
Right, a lot of people could walk to it in the village. I've heard that from a lot of folks.
Yeah.
And there's a few folks who can walk to it at the Brett School, but not too many.
Right.
Right, and I see that Susan
Right.
Golder put in the chat that she, the hard part about walking is after you've shopped and your groceries are heavy.
Right. So when we had the UFIS spot, we used to have a little depot area where you could leave your stuff and then go get your car and pull in and load your car up. I don't know how many people took advantage of that, but we.
Oh, it happened,
Yeah.
but not that often. But, Hank always wanted us to have, when we were in the village, he always wanted us to have maybe like a tractor and a hay wagon going back and forth from the market down into the village where people were parking and taking people back and forth. And we never did that, but I wonder if that idea wouldn't work if we went back to the village. That sounds maybe like a little bit of a logistical nightmare to find somebody to do that, but I just wonder how that would work for the summer markets.
Maybe have like an electric car taxi.
Yeah, like Shelley used to have a golf cart
Yeah.
that she would drive around Wanalancet. We could have a few of them.
We have Betsy and Bill Rich wanting to speak.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, Peg and Bob, this is Bill.
Hey, Bill.
Hi, Bill.
I'm not sure my wife agrees with this, but by all means, go back to the village. And I'll tell you why. There's a synergistic effect when you're in a village. The Tamworth Market becomes more than just that little space up at the church. It's the whole town. And so I would strongly encourage you to go back, at least during the summer. To go
I
back
agree.
to the village.
I don't disagree at all. I do disagree with him on many things after 6 years, but not this. I'd love to see it come back to the village.
I can't remember where I was talking with people recently, so remind me if you were the one I was talking to, but I said that Tamworth, we were talking about the difference between Sandwich and Tamworth, and noting that in Sandwich, the school's in the town, the post office is in the town, and then, there's the cafe in the corner house, and there's the park where you can go skiing. It's very village centered, and it may be a smaller town, but it has the potential for quite a lively downtown when things are happening. And Tamworth made some different decisions. It let its, post office go out of town and had its school go out of town.
Way out of town.
And that had an effect on the downtown. And I don't know if in some ways it's ever recovered from that. There's something about moving things out that can empty a town out. So the market helped to bring that back.
Right. Peg, I disagree with you. I think the effort we had 15 years ago, whenever it was, to redo the village, yeah, it kept the town offices there. They were in the process of leaving.
Right. You managed to sort of stem the bleeding. Yeah.
Right.
Before everything.
It also created, I don't know what they call it. That place that we own, what was it?
Oh, the,
There's a ready-made place to do more cafe-like stuff that doesn't do it now, ever since you guys left. It's called
oh, you're talking about the old Tamworth Inn?
No, the one right downtown, right down the
Oh,
middle.
the Lyceum?
The Lyceum.
The Lyceum,
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And I was at a meeting. I don't know if you ever noticed, but when the subject comes up, where's the best place to do anything? It's someplace other than where you are. And I was at a meeting one day and somebody said, I'll tell you what, the best place to be in this whole area is, I perked up my ears and said, Tamworth. They've really got it going. They've created a synergy with that downtown area and they've got that nice farmers market, everything. It's great what they're doing. So let's get it back.
We'll take it under advisement for sure.
Betsy, you're next.
Okay. I also am strongly in favor of you guys going back to the UFAS parking lot. 2 years ago, I would have said it's because of my conflict of interest, because I'm chair of the board of UFAS, and that thrift shop you used in the basement as a major support of our congregation. But in fact, we're doing fine financially. So that really doesn't matter anymore. And what does matter to me is the village. When you go down there Saturday morning right now, it's like empty. And that's just not good for all of us. I think having you folks down there and this tremendous source of energy and music and people eating and buying things, and then they all walk downtown and do other things, is just to the advantage of the village. And I've really missed that since you all moved, even though I love the parking at the Brett School, but I'll walk. It's good for all of us. So please come back.
I mean, obviously there's not quite as much space at UFAS as there is at Brett School. And we'd have to constrict our number of vendors a little bit.
But what
That was one of the questions in the chat, was the space, if you guys want to speak about space and vendors at the market versus the school.
Yeah, and also, I completely agree with what I'm hearing. And we just have to remember that also COVID was part of the, dealt the final blow in some ways. So, so as we come out of that, we will start to feel differently about where we are and where we might be able to move. And we do have some locations in mind that we're evaluating. So can't really say them out loud right now, I guess, probably. But we think all the time about where the market should be and how it can help the village. It definitely is a priority.
if we left the Brett School and we went back to UFAS, we could still fit all of the food vendors and farmers that we have now. We would pare back on the guest artisans like the jewelry and et cetera, because that's not our priority.
And you mean under COVID, or do you mean in general?
No, I mean in general, we wouldn't have enough room to have as many vendors. It would be close.
Right.
I don't think we could have quite as many vendors, but it would be close. We could still fit. I think we figured 30. We could still do 28 to 30 vendors at UFAS, nice and tight like the old days.
And that doesn't mean that, like, it could be more of a lottery for craft vendors.
Yeah,
like rotating.
they might not get to come every week. They might get to come every 2 or 3 weeks. But that's fine. I don't know. I feel like if we get too many guest artisans, it kind of dilutes the money that we want to see first and foremost going to farmers and food vendors. So at the Brett School, we've been able to have sometimes as many as 5 or 6 guest artisans on a Saturday. We started out at UFAS having maybe a couple. And we may get back to that. I don't know. We'll just have to see where we end up.
Katie, go ahead.
Oh, I just have been posting a few little thoughts. Why not, use a lot of space in the village? I mean, you could expand, you could come behind the other store and have part of the market there, and you could have part of the market on the village green by the history center. And
take over the whole town.
More walking, more rickshaws, just, there's a lot of space. You could swim in the river and all kinds of good stuff.
Well,
Maura says use bear camp bikes to have bikes.
Yeah.
Bear
That would
camp
be
bikes.
killer. I think at one time we did sort of imagine kind of spreading out over the whole village and how it would feel to be decentralized in a sense.
Right.
Have like a few people up at UFAS and a few people down on the History Center lawn.
Right. Well, there's a major logistical problem there, which I think Annie will tell you about.
Oh, well, there's the SNAP problem.
Well, right. There's the whole, where am I with my tokens, right? If we're all spread out, and how does someone come, there'd be a lot of, you buy tokens from me at one end, you go down to the other end. Oh, you don't have enough. You got to go all the way back. You got to,
And who gets, and which group gets the music?
Right.
Oh.
It would be
winners and losers. Yeah.
It would be hard to be spread out. I think it would be really hard.
Would it? Oh, that's too bad.
I think it would be.
But that doesn't mean there's still solutions to be had. It just may not be that particular one.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the idea is there's a synergy between what you do in the village that benefits Tamworth.
I agree.
You guys read?
Someone wants to do the, Diana Witt says, do the tomato contest again.
Oh, I'm sure it'll happen again.
I think Hope and Sandy Brokar are all over that. They really enjoyed themselves.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was fun.
Does anybody out there see a hole in our market, like something they wish we had there that we don't have? I mean, we've often felt like we have, for a little town, we feel like we have a market with good variety. But I'd still like to know if you see a hole that
we don't have enough corn.
Think needs filling. Not enough corn?
No.
Yeah, no, not enough
We
corn.
never have enough corn.
That's right.
Yeah.
Does somebody want to be a sweet corn farmer?
Yeah. And we need more beans.
There's lots of things we need, I guess, when you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are.
Younger farmers.
Younger farmers.
Yeah,
Yes.
Amy and Ethan, you guys are youngish.
Yeah. Oh, we need haircuts and cheese. Okay.
Haircuts and cheese.
Oh, haircuts. Okay. Interesting.
Oh, I thought it was like a comment on like our COVID.
No, I was going to say, I just got mine done.
Yeah, you guys need
I haven't
haircuts.
cut mine for 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, haircuts. Oh, we always thought that would be a great idea.
That's fun. I love
Yeah.
that thought.
Annie Provenzano, weren't you going to do it? Massages. Yes.
All right.
All right. Well, it's getting to be almost 7:25. Do you want to see some quick slides and see little? Yeah, George says yes.
All
Okay, let's
right.
do it.
Let's do it, Annie.
Okay, here we go. Let's see if I can figure this out.
All right.
Share my
And
screen.
You can turn on your mics if you want to talk over the pictures and say, oh, there's so-and-so.
Yeah, feel free
Or
to chime
whatever.
in.
Okay, here we go.
Nice sign.
Yeah.
There you are, Franny.
Oh, look at those cute kids.
Yeah. Who are they?
Uh,
Oh, I love that picture.
Amy.
Oh, there's that young fiddler.
Yeah,
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Oh. Wow.
Leanne.
oh, yeah.
All right.
Wow, that's a daikon
That's a
radish.
daikon radish, yeah.
Yeah.
There's you.
There's me,
Yeah.
yep.
And
Mitch.
Mitch, all right.
Oh, that was the
Very good.
first year, I think.
Oh, look at Kelly with her long hair. Look at Molly,
Okay.
Peter.
Our hip musicians. Breakfast radishes. And
And there's
who's that
Sienna,
guy?
Sienna
Yeah.
having a great time.
Yeah. Oh.
Susie.
There's
There's some
your
corn.
corn.
See, we used to have corn.
I know.
More people.
11s, they were
Oh,
awesome.
right.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
Oh,
cat
the
meat.
On the
mushroom.
mushroom.
Mushroom Company, yeah.
can you hold on those people?
Let this come into focus. There it is.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ooh,
can't see who they are. Oh, Peter.
yeah.
Yeah.
Deb Franchi when she was at the
Yeah.
market.
She used to sell fish.
Yep.
And there's Carl, the bear
The
farm.
bear farm.
All right.
Oh, God.
Annie in the
The
winter.
Chai Farm. There's the townhouse.
Yep. Mariah Champagne. Sharon Nothnagel. Monty.
Monty Carlson.
Yeah. That was at the
Oh,
I love that one.
Lincoln Hall. Cat?
oh,
No, not Cat.
Yeah, that is
It
Cat.
is Cat.
Yeah.
yay.
And there's Belle and Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andy and Ed.
There's Ingrid. All right.
And Ed.
And Mary.
And Mary in the background. Yeah.
Oh,
Peter.
Oh.
My favorite photo.
There's our cheese guy. We need a new cheese guy.
We do.
yeah.
What is
Nancy.
Nolenberg.
Hey, Harold.
Harold, all right.
Yeah.
Sienna.
Oh,
Tucker.
And that's the
And
meadery.
Aspen. Yep.
And
The
there's
meadery.
Helen. All right.
Peg.
Okay, uh-huh.
She doesn't like to have her picture taken. And I don't either. Pegs don't like that. Valerie. The knitters, the spinners.
That's right. We used to have spinners.
Yeah.
Hope.
Karen Galley.
Karen Galley. Chris. Karen. Me again.
Well, you're there every
Michaela
week.
and Annie, our outreach coordinator.
Right.
Miss Margaret.
Oh,
Oh,
Emery,
my.
Emery Roberts.
Yeah.
Selectman Emery.
Yeah.
Hey, Eric. Oh,
Hope's beautiful drawings. Stephanie.
More mushrooms.
Yeah.
Oh, what an onion.
An onion. Yeah.
4th of July.
Yeah.
There's the
Look.
people mover.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should think about that.
Liz
All
Topa
right.
and Janet.
Janet Palmer. Yeah.
Janet. Hey, Jason.
Mariah's flowers.
Remember when the painters all used to come?
Mm. Oh,
The
right.
plein air.
Yeah.
Oh, Pam.
Harvard Pilgrim.
We double your snap.
Yep. Katie. Pearl,
Carl Milan.
Oh, Grammy Gordon.
Grammy Gordon,
Oh,
Jennifer Buzzle.
Her things with the kids.
Oh, that's great.
Amy and Amy.
Amy's.
Pasta.
Paul's Pasta.
Pasta Farm.
Alan. Mojo and
Ah,
Frank.
kombucha.
The Barnstormers.
Doug.
I kid. Nat.
And there's a younger
And
Emery.
even smaller Emery.
Look at them.
It's a shrinking Emery.
Oh,
And bunnies. Oh,
oh, tiny.
Nina and Helen.
Helen, that's great.
Yeah.
Asparagus.
Hey.
Oh, breakfast sandwiches. Remember those?
Hey.
This Mr. Breakfast Sandwich. Cutting boards.
Beautiful. Lynn.
Yeah.
Oh,
Back when we were in the townhouse
Yeah.
for the deep winter.
Oh, that.
Oh, yeah. More of that.
Sausage
Yeah.
from Paul. We get a lot of donations in those buckets for the SNAP program.
That's pre-weight gates there.
Ellie.
There's Allie with a,
That's pre-Avery.
she's got her own loaf there.
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth Wilcox Jacobson.
Alan.
And that's Kevin who puts our signs out.
Yep.
Kevin Fulham
Yeah.
and Diane Booty.
Diane.
My mom, Betsy.
All right, the grant writer.
The grant writer. Oh,
That's market security.
yes.
Bouncers.
Looks like he has the earpiece in.
And that Paul's doing what we all do after the market, count our money.
Oh, yeah. What are you doing in South Tamworth? Oh,
We had a couple of markets at Union Hall
oh, you did? Oh,
early on.
Early on, yeah.
Here's hope.
There's
Shelley.
Shelley, the mask seller.
Ooh, go Shelley. Galen.
So these are over at the Brett School now.
Yeah, now we're kind of up to current market.
Yeah.
Vicky Drew.
Yeah.
Joanne, one of our young, great farmers.
Heather and Leah, Athena. Athena's Bees. Scones. Sue. Monique.
Oh, the microgreens. We've lost them as a vendor. The microgreens are gone. They weren't making a good enough living.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's really a shame.
Nina.
And there's Dexter,
Yes.
who does great at the market. We love having him there.
Yeah. Twice a year.
Yeah.
Karen Gibson.
And these are some young farmers.
Yep.
Tristan and Zach from Waxing Moon. They're in Whiteface Intervale.
Fabulous.
Beth Nagel.
That's Beth Nagel and her chocolates.
Oh,
Oh, and that's this Saturday.
That's what we'll be doing on Saturday.
That's right. Don't forget.
where were you, Peg? I didn't see you in that picture.
She was in bed.
I was hiding in the car.
Oh, there you go.
Can I call in sick this Saturday? It's going to be like 7 below.
No way. No way.
Oh, just
It's
bundle
your
up.
idea. Yeah.
You have a young couple that provides fresh fish.
Yes.
Yep.
By the way, they're a wonderful young couple. And
Yeah.
They do a great
and
job.
they've got a very good product for what it's
Oh, I
worth.
know. I get fish every week from them. A lot of us do. That's
Yeah.
Galen and her family, the boys' fresh catch.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're awesome. They've got two family-sized fishing boats, basically. So it's great to support them.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
Thanks for
Thanks for
having us.
having us.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Next week, it will be David Little talking about the history, some old roads in Tamworth. There'll be some good images and
Oh, cool.
It's for us to help solve. So thank you, Peg and Bob and Annie. It's a great.
Amy. Thanks, Annie.
Feel the love
You're
from
welcome.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
See you Saturday.
Thank you. Thanks.
Order